TYT Sports Rick Strom here with only the Coach of the Year in 2011, Greg Jackson. Greg, how are you?
Good. How are you, brother?
I am doing great. You have trained so many notable fighters, Georges St-Pierre, Jon Jones, to name a few. There's one tactic that you use that I have noticed in your fights while you are in the corner. You call them by their first and last name. Now, I mean, like my dad would call me, Richard Strom, and I would clearly get his attention. I understand that that is one of your tactics, correct?
It is, and I learned it from my mom, actually, who would use that to get my attention. And it works well. When you hear your whole name, it's just kind of reflexive to kind of focus in. So I try to anchor people down with that kind of psychological approach of just speaking to them like they need to listen to me right now.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever like slapped a fighter in the face or anything like that to wake him up in the corner?
Not in the corner, I haven't. Some fighters I'll slap before we go out there, like I'll kind of hit them all over to wake them up a little bit. But in the corner, you don't really need to slap them. If you can't wake them up using the tools of, psychologically just kind of motivating them, hitting them isn't going to do it. They just got hit for 5 minutes. Another hit's not really going to do anything.
When you did slap them, though, was it forehand or backhand?
It's all forehand. The backhand, I've broken my hands too many times, so I use the front of the hand.
Now, you've developed 10 world champions. Let's just get the drama out of the way that I know you have been asked many times. Rampage Jackson has called you and your team the most boring team out there right now. Why exactly do you think he has fired at you guys like that?
Well, we went through a phase where a few of my top guys were having a hard time finishing fights. So what I did to combat that is I came out with a comprehensive list of our entire team, especially in the UFC, which is quite large, and showed that we had the highest finishing percentage by far. We took the most bonuses, meaning fight of the night, submission of the night, knockout of the night. We took all those by far. So at one point, that was kind of in vogue to say, like, if you were in the know in MMA, you would say, oh, well, Jackson's guys are boring, but the stats don't hold up with that. And that argument's pretty well dead, even as late as last year. Just this last couple of weeks, we had both Ultimate Fighter winners come from my gym. They both finished their fights in the first round. We took every single bonus that night that was offered. And then the next week, Jon Jones was able to take Machida out in the second round. So if you're still kind of beating that drum, there's not much support for you.
Now, back in March, Sugar Rashad Evans had some harsh comments for you, writing on his Twitter, "I decided to leave Greg because I felt like he didn't have my best interest anymore. Greg is not the same coach he used to be. He has called your gym commercial and transient." Do you think that he's being a little over the top with these comments and maybe playing up to the media, or is there something, could there be something there?
We did grow, and that's true. But it's still a really, really tight group of guys. You're not seeing like a mass exodus from my team or anything like that. I'm sorry he feels that way. Certainly his teammates don't seem to feel that way. And I don't feel that way. I mean, I'm just a big dork, and I've been a big dork, so I don't really feel like I've changed that much. I'm sure I have, but I don't feel that way. And I'm sorry that he feels that way. I certainly don't feel that way about him. I love the guy.
So would you want to see him fight Jon Jones? Would you think that would be an interesting fight?
It is going to be an interesting fight when it happens. It's a fight that I don't want to see. I never want to see my friends fight each other, and I still consider Rashad, on my part, a friend. So it's going to be a great fight, I think. But it's not something that I want to see. I have new protocols in place now, so we should never run into that situation again. For instance, GSP and Carlos are probably going to end up fighting very shortly, and Carlos Condit, that is, and we're all set up now, all ready to take care of that with no drama. Do you think Rashad perceives you as a friend as much as you perceive him as a friend? I think that's a question for Rashad. I don't know. I hope so, but, I'm not sure.
A lot of writers and fans have had a mixed perception of Jon Jones. They love his ability to fight in the cage. They love what he does. But they have a question of how he presents himself, and if he is just playing up a nice guy image. What would you say to those people?
I'd say that you're really reaching there. Like, if you obviously you can't really put his fighting down, and you've got to find something to dislike about the guy. I guess the image would be the thing to do. Jon Jones is one of the sweetest, nicest guys I've ever met. He's an awesome guy, an awesome human being. He takes care of me and the whole coaching staff here really, really well. So I'm not sure where they're getting that. I guess the only thing I can think of is that you really like he's rolling through fighters. He's so young. He's so talented. You can't really insult him there, so you might as well go after his character.
All right, let's put the drama aside now. Let's get down to business. If you are trying to get a guy into your gym, or, if you're trying to get a guy into your gym, do you recruit them? Do you go after them and say, hey, we see a lot in you, we want to train you? Or do they necessarily come to you for that advice on how to fight?
Usually they come to us now. They'll say, hey, I was interested in being a part of your team. Sometimes it's a mutual thing. We're like, oh, I wanted to work with you too. But most of the time at this point, it's people coming and wanting to join the team. And so we try to evaluate, if it is going to be a good fit, because, our team isn't for everybody. And we have to get along really well. The number one battle is for morale. You want to make sure everybody gets along well before money, before anything else. You have to be friends. And as long as they fit in well and they're talented and on the same sheet of music, so to speak, you can come join.
Greg, you're a very well-known trainer in the UFC. You have many top-notch fighters. What is your motivation?
My motivation is kind of twofold. One is to reach my potential. I just want to be the best martial arts instructor, coach, whatever you want to call it, that I can be. So reaching my potential is number one. I should say, also with that is taking care of my troops. I want to make sure that I bring out the best in them, that their dreams come true, that they are able to really kind of pursue what makes them happy. I want to empower them as much as I can. So for me, it's all arbitrary. You pick what's important in your life, and those are the two things that I've picked that are important. Obviously, outside my family and so on, that is kind of innately important to everybody.
Outside of the fighters that you have trained, who have you seen that is possibly the best fighter of all time?
I'm completely biased on that question, so it's. I'll only start listing out my guys. I'm like so biased. It's not.
You can't name anybody outside of your team. Not one guy.
In MMA?
Yeah.
The problem with that is that I see all these guys every week. So then, if I do that, they see me next week, and they're all going to beat me up. The ones that weren't named.
Greg, let me ask you, I've seen a lot of your interviews. You reference boxing a lot, and to a lot of MMA people, UFC people, Ultimate Fighting people, that surprises them and that catches them off guard. How do you feel about the rivalry between boxing and MMA?
Well, for me, there is no rivalry. I'm not a promoter. I don't have to deal with that reality of the game. For me, it's two different sports. It's like hockey and baseball. And I really enjoy boxing, especially the high-level boxers from throughout history. And I try to learn from everybody that I can learn from, and you can learn a lot from the old boxers on tape, even the new boxers. It might not necessarily immediately be relevant to what we do in MMA, but if you look deep enough, a lot of times there's something there for you. So I'm a big boxing fan, a huge boxing fan, and I think you can learn from it, and the two, you can be a fan of both. They're not mutually exclusive.
How badly do you want to see, then, you say you're a huge boxing fan, how badly do you want to see Floyd Mayweather face Manny Pacquiao?
It'll be a very interesting fight. Pacquiao has that great pace, and Floyd Mayweather has amazing defense, that drop shoulder defense. It's really, really good. So it'll be an interesting battle of styles to see who comes out on top there for sure.
Not to get off base here, but did you think that Floyd Mayweather's punch on Victor Ortiz was a cheap shot, or did you think, hey, you got to protect yourself at all times? That's the way it goes.
It's hard to say. You'd probably have to you have to take his answer, I guess. But it's one of those things that in the moment you get caught up, and you're not necessarily always going to do that, but you just get caught up in the situation. And unless you've experienced that, it's really hard to describe. It just seems like such common sense. Oh, you wouldn't do something like that. Sometimes in the moment, though, you do crazy stuff. And so, you know, it's one of those things that you have to take it with a grain of salt either way, because you never know.
Who would you say is, out of your fighters, who would you say is the hardest worker, who really comes into the gym and, you know, has a tough mentality when training for a fight?
I think the kind of the leader of the pack on that, they're all tough. I mean, every one of these guys is a workhorse, but I think the real tone is set by Keith Jardine, one of my longest students. And he's a guy that kind of everybody looks up to, because he's in here he works so hard, and he's so tough. And so he really sets the tone. When you have a mixed martial arts gym, or any group of people, really setting the culture is so important, because that culture will come to either harm you or save you, depending on the situation. And you want to set a culture of toughness, of hard work ethic, of technical proficiency. And that's really important. And Keith Jardine really helps out setting that tone for our team.
Let me ask you just a few more questions, Greg.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people have this perception of ultimate fighting, cage fighting, and they think that it is incredibly vulgar, and it is way too violent, and it is just two guys going in there and having a street fight. What would you say to those people that have such a negative annotation with the ultimate fighting?
I would say that's a complicated question, because a lot of that is perception versus reality. The first thing you want to do is you want to look at the stats, and you can Google them or do whatever you want to do. But we actually have an amazingly low injury rate. Boxing, football, even cheerleading, a lot of these sports that we watch every day. When you watch football, I mean, some people might feel that way, but it doesn't get that same visceral reaction, right? But that's way, way, way more dangerous than what we do. You're getting more concussions, more knee injuries. We're much safer than boxing. So statistically, we're much safer. And then that perception of, well, these are two guys fighting in a cage, and that's what it's really about. People are afraid of that. That seems very scary to them, because fighting is scary and the cage is scary. And I would say, you know, come at it with an open mind, because it really is a beautiful, beautiful sport, and it's a beautiful art. And it's one of those things that the more educated you are about it, the more beautiful it becomes. And I always say this, you know, Mark Twain said when he was studying the river as a kid, it was so mysterious and beautiful to him. And then when he kind of figured out how the river worked and he was able to pilot it, it lost some of that luster, some of that beauty. And I always found the exact opposite. I think the more you get educated about something, the more beautiful it becomes. And definitely that's the case with mixed martial arts. If you give it a chance and just educate yourself a little bit on it, and you see the chess match that is going on in there, and it's a real chess match, and high level maneuvers, it's phenomenal. It makes your skin tingle.
Self-promotion time, Greg. Do you interact with the fans on Twitter? Can they find you on there?
Yeah, I have my gym manager does the Twitter, because I don't think anybody would really care what a coach would have to say about the world. But we definitely do have a place where the fans want to come. And I think it's Jackson's MMA, but I'm not 100% sure on it.
I'm pretty sure it is Jackson's MMA. I think you're right on that. Goes to show you how much he participates on Twitter. Yeah. Do you have another book coming out as well?
Not at the moment. I have the two books that we've already written, which are great guides. And if you want to educate yourself on you know, being a more informed fan, or you just want to know what it's all about, both of those books give you a breakdown of what's happening in the cage and how cool it is, and the strategy stuff too. There's military strategies that you can see alive in that cage, and so on and so forth. And I'm planning probably in about 5 or 6 years to do a giant strategy, kind of encompassing strategy book about these ubiquitous principles that you find all throughout art and how they apply to the martial arts.
The very philosophical Greg Jackson. Greg, thank you so much for the time. Will you promise me that you will come back on the show later in the year?
I will come on as many times as you need me, brother. No worries.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, sir.